Hi everybody, it's Karen Kennedy again, your nutritionist with Real Food Matters. And today we're talking about sea vegetables again, seaweed. And today we're talking about dulse. Dulse. Now dulse, just like the other sea vegetables, is really high in iodine, which is great for your thyroid. But it's also high in other trace minerals, especially iron. And I've used dulse a lot when I'm trying to increase the iron in my diet and the diet for the rest of my family. For example, when my children were babies and I was making baby food, I added a little bit of dulse to it instead of buying iron-fortified cereals to add iron that's really easy to absorb. And I also use it when I bake, like when I make muffins. But every day, or almost every day, I use it when I make oatmeal or muesli for our breakfasts. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So what I do every night as part of my bedtime routine is I plan the meals for the next day. I decide what we're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on our schedule. I thaw things out. I might soak some things. And I get our breakfast ready so it is easy and ready to go the next day. And our family has oatmeal porridge almost every morning, or muesli, or something like that. So I'm going to show you how I start out our oatmeal and our muesli the night before to make morning breakfast easier and healthy using dulse. So I'm going to start with oatmeal porridge. Oatmeal if you're in the States, porridge if you live in England. I use a rice cooker to make porridge, but you could just as easily use a saucepan like this. And so for everything I'm doing today that I put in this rice cooker, you would do the same thing and put it in a saucepan and let it sitting on your stove, soaking and waiting overnight to cook the next day. But if you value an extra half hour of sleep like I do, you're going to get one of these fantastic rice cookers that has a timer on it. So for porridge, now 2 people in my family have porridge in the morning, my daughter and I. So the way I make that is I use just the regular rolled oats, and I usually use a little more than a cup of rolled oats. I put a healthy pinch of salt in along with it. And I put about a tablespoon of chia seeds. Okay, maybe more than a tablespoon of chia seeds. And then I add some dulse. Now, these sea vegetables are great for you, but they are expensive, so I don't use a lot at any one time. I use it in the principle of little and often. A little bit of sea vegetables every day, and it's kind of like taking a whole foods vitamin. I just sprinkle in you saw that was a really hefty pinch. It was probably a tablespoon of dulse in there. And then I just add the amount of water required. Close the lid and set the timer. And then I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and my oatmeal is going to be ready. Now the other thing I make at night, because I know my husband and my son, especially in the summertime when we have fresh food around, is they like to have muesli. Now some of you might think of muesli as the cereal that you can buy in a box in a store, and this is not that. It is way better. And most of the people who stayed at my house know that they have breakfast like kings here. So for 2 of them, for my husband and my son, I use about a cup and a half of these quick cooking oats, because I'm not going to cook these. They're just going to soak overnight. So that's a cup and a half of quick cooking oats for 2 people. And then just like the oatmeal that I'll cook, I add a hefty pinch of salt. I add a tablespoon of chia seeds. And you can soak other seeds in here too. This is just what I like. I add my teaspoon or tablespoon of dulse flakes. And then I take some yogurt and I add some yogurt overnight. Now, you might be wondering about this little pot here. This is actually yogurt because I make my own yogurt, and I'll show you how sometime. This is a pot from a Yo Gourmet maker, which makes yogurt making so easy. And I'll add a little bit of yogurt, or sometimes I'll add whey And whey is the liquid. Sometimes your yogurt might have a little bit of watery liquid sitting at the top of it. That's whey. And I add this because it's both acidic and it has some of that seed bacteria in it. And that acidity is going to help make my oats more digestible. Alternatively, you could also add maybe a tablespoon of frozen orange juice concentrate or pineapple juice. That acidity works well too. And it makes it sweet. And just like the porridge, I'm going to add water to it. And I'll add enough water to make this soupy. That's about right. And then this sits on the counter. So I'm just going to set a plate over top of it and set it aside. This is mostly to keep the ants out of it because in my house, if you leave any food out, ants will find it. So I've got my rice cooker and I'll set the timer on that to come on and be ready when I'm ready to leave. And this muesli is soaking overnight. And then what we do in the morning is the first person up, or the first person who's up who has free time, is going to get up and they'll get 4 bowls out. And in those bowls, they'll add all the different ingredients. They'll add some ground flax seeds, they'll add some raisins, and some fresh fruit, and some yogurt. And everybody then just adds their porridge to it. So you'll see that in just a minute. Here we are in the morning, getting ready for our breakfast. Now we have 4 people in our family, and we all, everybody wants something different on their oats in the morning. Now remember, we soaked oats for 2 different kinds of breakfast. We have the muesli that's uncooked, that we just soaked the oats in water and the dulse and the chia seeds and salt, and we added a bit of whey. And that's what this is. And there's 2 different ones because 2 different people want different things. One person's taking it with them. And that muesli here, we've added some dried papaya, raisins, some nuts and seeds, flax seeds, some fresh fruit, some extra yogurt and honey. So that is delish. And these are for the porridge that we cooked, and different people like different things. So this person has some fruit and nuts and some cream, and then that's mine. I don't have cream in the morning because that doesn't agree with me. So I add peanut butter to add protein and fat to mine, and some fruit. It's raspberry season, and I've frozen some raspberries. So that's some frozen fruit that'll melt. And then here's my rice cooker where I have my porridge cooking. I love this, so we can all get up at different times and have our breakfast hot and ready. So you can see in there it looks a little bit brown, and that's from the dulse and the chia seeds that I soaked in the oatmeal. But whenever people get up and are ready, they can just come over here to their bowls and they can dish up the porridge and have their hot breakfast when they're ready. So I hope you're able to find some of this dulse, some of the seaweed, so you can boost your trace mineral intake and your iron intake and have a nice breakfast. Thanks for watching. Bye.